there were a God who wants us to know Him, we would expect to see a fairly even global distribution of belief in that God. However, what we find, in fact, is that belief is geographic. Children are taught whatever their parents believe, and statistically, they retain that belief. If you were born in the United States, there's a 78% chance that you're Christian. If you were born in India, there's an 80% chance you're Hindu. And if you were born in Saudi Arabia, there's a 96% chance you're Muslim. The fact that religious affiliation is so statistically tied to a particular geographic region is problematic for believers and provides evidence that a God does not really exist. In 2012, the conservative Pew Research Center released The Global Religious Landscape, a report on the size and distribution of the world's major religious groups as of 2010. The study, in part, reads as follows. Worldwide, more than 8 in 10 people identify with a religious group. A comprehensive demographic study of more than 230 countries and territories conducted by the Pew Research Center's Forum on Religion and Public Life estimates that there are 5.8 billion religiously affiliated adults and children around the globe, representing 84% of the 2010 world population of 6.9 billion. The demographic study, based on analysis of more than 2,500 censuses, surveys, and population registers, finds 2.2 billion Christians, 32% of the world's population, 1.6 billion Muslims, 23%, 1 billion Hindus, 15%, nearly 500 million Buddhists, 7%, and 14 million Jews, 0.2%, around the world as of 2010. In addition, more than 400 million people, 6%, practice various folk or traditional religions, including African traditional religions, Chinese folk religions, Native American religions, and Australian Aboriginal religions. An estimated 58 million people, slightly less than 1% of the global population, belong to other religions, including the Baha'i Faith, Jainism, Sikhism, Shintoism, Taoism, Tenrikyo, Wicca, and Zoroastrianism, to mention just a few. At the same time, the new study by the Pew Forum also finds that roughly 1 in 6 people around the globe, 1.1 billion, or 16%, have no religious affiliation. This makes the unaffiliated the third largest religious group worldwide, behind Christians and Muslims, and about equal in size to the world's Catholic population. The geographic distribution of religious groups varies considerably. Several religious groups are heavily concentrated in the Asia-Pacific region, including the vast majority of Hindus, 99%, Buddhists, 99%, adherents of folk or traditional religions, 90%, and members of other world religions, 89%. Nearly 3/4, 73%, of the world's people live in countries in which their religious group makes up a majority of the population. Overwhelmingly, Hindus and Christians tend to live in countries where they are in the majority. Fully 97% of all Hindus live in the world's 3 Hindu majority countries: India, Mauritius, and Nepal. And nearly 9 in 10 Christians, 87%, are found in the world's 157 Christian majority countries. Now, studies like this clearly indicate that religious belief is not the result of revelation from a divine authority, but rather is a cultural tradition passed from one generation to the next. Based on their differing dogmas, only one of the world's major religions could possibly be right, and all others must be wrong. So even if we assumed the world's largest religion, Christianity, were true, God's failure rate is astonishing. Over 2/3 of the world's population would be damned to eternal torture. You'd think an omnipotent God would do a better job of convincing people to follow him, and an all-loving God would certainly want to. Today, with a high level of mobility and worldwide communication, we are seeing more diversity in beliefs, but the general trend still remains. In most cases, religious belief is simply an accident of birth.